Gentlemen, let me begin with a truth that may hit harder than you expect. If your penis no longer gets hard the way it once did, it is not because you are too old, and it is not because your best years are gone. The real shock is this. Every single morning, millions of men drink their coffee and unknowingly waste the easiest chance they have to bring their erections back, even at 70, even at 80. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I am a board-certified urologist and professor of men's health with more than 3 decades of experience helping men restore their strength, energy, and confidence. I have treated thousands of men who thought decline was inevitable, and I have seen firsthand that the body is far more capable than most believe. Here is the surprising truth most men never hear. Erections do not fade simply because of age. They fade because testosterone has dropped, because blood vessels have stiffened, and because the body is starved of the right fuel. Yet the very drink you start your morning with, your coffee, can become a tool to reverse this. Add just one natural ingredient to your cup, and you can increase blood flow, boost testosterone, and restore erections in a way that is safe, natural, and lasting. This is not about chasing quick fixes or empty promises. This is about giving your body what it truly needs to feel alive again. And in just a moment, I will show you exactly what to stir into your coffee so that you can reignite your manhood and your vitality, even well into your later years. Stay with me, because this simple change can transform more than just your mornings. It can transform your life. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another tip designed to help men over 60 restore their strength and vitality. And I'd love to hear from you. If this message speaks to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and tell me how I can make these videos more helpful for you. Now let's get to the heart of the matter. Before we talk about what to add to your coffee, you first need to understand why erections fade after 60. It's not just aging, it's 2 powerful changes inside your body that slowly weaken performance, falling testosterone and stiffening blood vessels. 1. The root cause of erectile decline after 60. Gentlemen, let me be honest with you. When a man sits across from me in my office and says, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore," I can see the pain in his eyes. He thinks it happened suddenly, as if one day he simply woke up and his manhood had vanished. But the truth is, this change has been building slowly inside his body for decades. By the time you reach your 60s, 2 major shifts have already taken hold, and they quietly erode your strength, your confidence, and yes, your erections. The first shift is the steady fall of testosterone. This hormone is not just about sex. It fuels your energy, your muscle, your drive, even the sparkle in your mood. In your 20s, testosterone was abundant, like a river rushing through your system. But by your 60s, those levels are often cut nearly in half. And when testosterone falls, the body begins to lose its edge. Energy dips, muscle thins, and the desire that once felt so natural now fades into the background. The second shift is in your blood vessels. They harden, stiffen, and lose the elasticity they once had. Think back to a high-pressure garden hose in your youth, when blood rushed powerfully to every part of your body. Erections were firm, dependable, almost effortless. But as the years pass, that hose becomes worn and leaky. The pressure weakens, the flow slows, and what was once automatic now feels uncertain or absent altogether. It's not a failure of manhood, it's not a lack of desire, it's pure biology that has been slowly stacking the odds against you. Yet here's the part I want you to remember. Biology can be influenced. Decline is not destiny. I've seen men in their 70s and 80s respond like men decades younger once they give their body the right fuel. And that brings us to the daily ritual you already know so well, your morning cup of coffee. Because while plain coffee only scratches the surface, with the right natural addition, it can become the simplest, most powerful way to fight back against these changes. So let me show you how that first sip of the day could hold the key to restoring your manhood. 2. Coffee, the missed opportunity. Every morning across America, men over 60 perform the same ritual. The smell of fresh grounds fills the kitchen, the steam curls upward, And that first sip brings a familiar sense of comfort. I know this feeling myself. Coffee has been my own companion for years. For many men I see in my office, it's the one habit they refuse to give up. They'll say, "Doc, I could quit a lot of things, but not my morning coffee." And I smile, because I understand. Coffee feels like a friend that wakes you up, sharpens your mind, and gives you the strength to face the day. But here is the surprising truth. As wonderful as it is, coffee by itself is only doing half the job. Yes, caffeine gives you a quick surge of energy, a temporary boost in circulation, but then it fades. Many of you know that crash by mid-morning, the sluggishness that drives you to pour a second or even third cup. It's like pressing the gas pedal on a car with an old, worn engine. You get a burst of speed, but the deeper problems remain untouched. And that's where the opportunity is being missed. Because coffee could be so much more. It's not just a morning habit, it has the potential to be a healing ritual, a daily medicine hiding in plain sight. When combined with the right natural ingredients, coffee doesn't just wake up your mind, it wakes up your body, your circulation, your testosterone, and even your erections. I've had men in their 70s tell me that when they made this one simple change, their coffee became the turning point, the moment they stopped feeling powerless and started feeling alive again. Imagine that. The very drink you already rely on could become the key to restoring the vitality you thought was gone forever. And the secret lies in adding just one simple spice, something you probably already have in your kitchen, something that not only flavors your coffee, but protects the very blood vessels that fuel your manhood. Let me reveal it to you now. 3. Ingredient number 1. Cinnamon, the vessel protector. When I was a boy, I remember my mother sprinkling cinnamon on warm oatmeal, and the scent filled the whole house. It was comforting, familiar, and tied to memories of family and safety. Most of us think of cinnamon only as a spice for desserts or the holidays, but over the years in my medical practice, I have learned that it is far more than that. For men over 60, cinnamon can be a lifeline. It is not just about taste. It's about protecting the most delicate blood vessels in your body, the ones that carry blood to your manhood. Here's what most men never realize. Every spike and crash in blood sugar quietly damages these tiny vessels, the ones thinner than a human hair. And when they are injured, circulation to the penis is one of the first things to suffer. That's why men with blood sugar problems often notice erectile issues years before they ever hear the word diabetes from their doctor. But cinnamon steps in like a shield. Studies have shown it can lower fasting blood sugar by as much as 20 to 30%. That's not small. It's the difference between fragile vessels breaking down and those same vessels staying strong enough to carry life-giving blood where it's needed most. But that's only half the story. Cinnamon also boosts nitric oxide, the very molecule your body uses to relax blood vessels and open them wide. It's the same pathway prescription drugs like Viagra target, yet here you have it in a simple spice sitting in your kitchen cabinet. Patients of mine who began adding just a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon to their morning coffee noticed not only more stable energy throughout the day, but also firmer, longer-lasting erections within weeks. One man in his late 60s told me it was the first time in years he felt in control of his body again. Cinnamon is simple, affordable, and powerful. But if this humble spice can make such a difference, imagine what happens when you pair it with another natural ingredient, one that flips the body's nitric oxide switch even more powerfully and adds a richness to your coffee that can transform both your mood and your manhood. 4. Ingredient number 2. Cocoa, flipping the nitric oxide switch. There is something almost magical about cocoa. I still remember the first time I tasted real, pure cocoa as a young man traveling through South America. It wasn't the sweetened powder most of us grew up stirring into milk. It was rich, dark, and alive with flavor. Locals spoke of it not just as a treat, but as medicine, something that strengthened the body and lifted the spirit. And years later, as a urologist, I discovered they were right. For men over 60, cocoa is not simply about taste. It's about circulation, mood, and the very chemistry that allows an erection to happen. Inside cocoa are powerful compounds called flavonoids. These natural agents trigger the release of nitric oxide, the molecule your body depends on to open blood vessels and let blood flow freely. Without nitric oxide, no erection is possible. It doesn't matter how much desire you feel. If the blood can't get in, nothing happens. Cocoa works like a natural switch, flipping the circulation back on. In many ways, it mimics the effect of common erectile drugs, but it does so gently, safely, and without the side effects. But cocoa gives even more than circulation. It carries mood-lifting chemicals like anandamide, often called the bliss molecule, and phenylethylamine, the compound linked to feelings of love and attraction. Add to that a healthy dose of magnesium, which supports muscle, nerve function, and testosterone, and you begin to see why cocoa has been treasured for centuries. A simple teaspoon of unsweetened cocoa powder stirred into your morning coffee doesn't just create a mocha-like flavor, it creates a surge of blood flow and energy that you can feel. I've had men in their 70s tell me, "Doc, it feels like a light was switched back on inside me." And when you combine cocoa with the next ingredient, a root grown high in the Andes that's been celebrated for centuries as the spark of male vitality, the results can be even more extraordinary. 5. Ingredient number 3. Maca, awakening your drive and stamina. High in the Andes Mountains, where the air is thin and life is harsh, grows a humble root that has been cherished for centuries, maca. I remember the first time I encountered it, not in a lab or a medical journal, but in the stories of older men who spoke of it with a sense of quiet reverence. They called it the Peruvian ginseng, not because it forces the body like a stimulant, but because it has a way of waking up something that feels lost with age. For many men over 60, maca is not just a supplement. It is a reminder that vitality can return, no matter how many years have passed. Maca works differently from the other ingredients we've talked about. While cinnamon protects your vessels and cocoa flips the nitric oxide switch, maca speaks directly to your hormones. It gently nudges the body's master control centers, the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, back into balance. That balance allows testosterone to rise, energy to return, and desire to resurface. I've seen men in their late 60s describe the change as a flame being rekindled, steady at first, then growing stronger week by week. Research has shown that just a teaspoon of maca a day, about 2.4 grams, can improve sexual desire and performance in as little as 12 weeks. But what strikes me most isn't only the science, it's the look in a man's eyes when he feels that spark come back. I had a patient, a retired teacher in his 70s, who once told me, "Doc, it feels like someone turned the lights back on in my head." That's the kind of transformation maca delivers. Not just stronger intimacy, but sharper focus, better mood, and a renewed sense of self. Yellow maca is the most common, red maca supports prostate health, and black maca is considered the powerhouse for energy and stamina. And here's the beauty. Maca blends effortlessly into your coffee, adding a nutty, slightly malty taste that pairs perfectly with cocoa. But while maca helps restore your drive and hormones, the next ingredient takes things further. Because it doesn't just support testosterone, it gives your body the very raw materials to make it. And that's where things get truly powerful. 6. Ingredient number 4. Coconut oil. Fuel for testosterone and steady energy. For decades, men were told that fat was the enemy. I remember sitting with patients in the 1990s as they proudly described how they cut out butter, oils, and anything rich because they were told it would protect their hearts. But here's the irony. Testosterone, the very hormone that defines energy, vitality, and manhood, is made from fats and cholesterol. When you starve your body of these building blocks, you also starve your masculinity. That's why I often smile when I explain to men that adding something as simple as coconut oil to their morning coffee could be one of the easiest ways to give their body what it needs to feel alive again. Coconut oil is unique because it's packed with medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. These special fats bypass the usual slow digestive process and go straight to the liver, where they're quickly converted into clean, usable energy. Think of it as premium fuel for your body, burning efficiently, providing lasting power, and avoiding the crash you get from sugar or processed carbs. When MCTs are available, your body not only feels more energized, but studies show testosterone production can rise by as much as 20%. That boost translates into stronger energy, steadier mood, and yes, better performance when it matters most. I once had a patient in his late 60s who came to me completely drained. He was still working part-time, still carrying responsibilities, but he admitted he was dragging himself through each day. I suggested he try what's sometimes called bulletproof coffee, a simple blend of coffee with a spoonful of coconut oil. A month later, he walked into my office with a spring in his step. He told me his mornings felt steady, his energy no longer crashed, and he and his wife quietly noticed an intimacy they thought was gone forever. That's the difference the right fuel can make. Blending coconut oil into hot coffee creates a creamy, latte-like drink that slows down caffeine absorption and gives hours of smooth energy. And while fueling testosterone is powerful, the next ingredient takes things in a whole new direction. It doesn't just energize you, it supercharges blood flow and directly protects the glands that make you a man. And that's where the real fire begins. 7. Ingredient number 5. Ginger. Supercharging blood flow and protecting testosterone. There is something unforgettable about ginger. The sharp, warm bite on your tongue, the soothing comfort it brings when you sip it in tea or that burst of spice in a favorite dish. But beyond its flavor, ginger holds a secret power that men over 60 often overlook. In my years of practice, I've seen ginger transform not just circulation, but confidence. It has been trusted for thousands of years in traditional medicine, and now modern science confirms what our ancestors already knew. Ginger opens blood vessels, protects testosterone, and breathes life back into a man's energy and vitality. When you add ginger to your daily routine, its active compounds, gingerol and shogaol, help blood vessels relax and widen. That extra warmth you feel isn't just a taste sensation, it's blood moving freely through your body, reaching your brain, your heart, and yes, your manhood. For men whose erections weaken because of sluggish circulation, ginger can bring a noticeable difference, but it doesn't stop there. Ginger also acts as a guardian for your testosterone. Over time, stress, toxins, and aging wear down the very cells in the testicles responsible for hormone production. Ginger protects them, reduces oxidative stress, and stimulates luteinizing hormone, the messenger that tells your body to make more testosterone. In one study, testosterone levels rose nearly 18% in men who consumed ginger consistently for 3 months. I think of one of my patients, a quiet man in his mid-60s who had tried supplement after supplement with no success. I asked him to try something simple: a few slices of fresh ginger in his morning coffee, or a quarter teaspoon of powdered ginger if he preferred convenience. Weeks later, he returned with a stronger handshake and a brighter smile. He said, "Doc, I feel warmer, stronger, more alive, and my wife noticed before I did." That's the kind of change ginger brings. And here's the beauty: whether fresh or powdered, ginger is affordable, safe, and easy to make part of your morning ritual. Now imagine this: you've added cinnamon, cocoa, maca, coconut oil, and ginger. Your coffee has become a powerful daily formula for strength, blood flow, and vitality. But beyond the science, there's one final truth you need to hear. The part that speaks not just to your body, but to your identity, your pride, and the way you feel as a man. And that's where we bring it all together. Conclusion. Gentlemen, we've walked through a journey together, from cinnamon steadying your blood sugar, to cocoa unlocking nitric oxide, to maca restoring your drive, to coconut oil fueling testosterone, and finally to ginger supercharging circulation. These aren't just ingredients. They are daily choices that honor your body and your manhood. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s discover that life still holds strength, passion, and joy when they take small, consistent steps. So tomorrow morning, when you pour that cup of coffee, remember, you're not finished yet. Your best days can still be ahead.